what's up? Welcome to Marvel Duel Pro Academy, episode number 3. Black Widow's here. It's very exciting. Our first new hero has been introduced to the game. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about pertaining to her, pertaining to other stuff. As always, we got Jon Snow, we got Faith. What's up, guys? How we doing tonight?
What's going on?
Oh, new patch time, new hero. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know you've been brewing away, trying stuff out. I know, John, you've been out of town. You haven't got to play yet, so this is like a hype episode for you. And you get to steal all of our excellent ideas that we've been tinkering around with, aka Faith's excellent ideas and mine that keep failing. So this is gonna be great. I pitched an idea to him yesterday. I was like, I've got this great idea, and he was like, that's not gonna work. And I tried it and it didn't work. So that's how it goes.
It was worth a shot.
Yeah. New season is here. Operation Red Room. We'll talk about the season pass. We're just gonna quickly go through these because we have a ton to get to. Of course, Black Widow's here. We're going to talk all about her skills, all about her abilities, all about the cards, all the stuff she's bringing to the table. So we'll get to that. New card has been added, Hydra Infiltration. It sucks. Don't play it. Shield Agent has been pulled out, and Red Wing has been put in. It feels a little bit worse because it's half the power.
He is technically worse. Yes,
a nerf.
It's lower power than the Marvel Agent, and it's only giving one.
Yep.
Still the same there.
This is ladderboard reward cards. This is relevant because of the server merge. This is a complaint I've had since the game came out, and they addressed it. They merged all of their mini servers into one cohesive server, one cohesive ladder, so you can see what your true ranking is worldwide. I think this is a great change. Also, basically, all the rewards that were top 10 are now top 100, so it's expanded a little bit to compensate for that. Anybody got any particular thoughts on that?
I think it's cool.
Server merge, I think, is very cool.
I think it's a really good change. Top 100, now you get to see who the true grinders are. I'm kind of scared because I don't grind that hard, and there's some real warriors out there that are really play this game a lot. So I'm interested to see who's number one.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be, this is the true ladder now, which I'm glad to have. It's nice to know, be like, at the end of the season, you're like, all right, I finished rank whatever, right? I finished rank 37. Okay, well, that's not on your one of 20 ladders. It's now on the one cohesive ladder, so that's your true rating. And I think that's really nice. So, overall a win. They did expand the rewards. So, speaking of rewards, there's a new card. How Thanos was limited before, now there is a new card that can only be obtained hitting top 100 this season. It's called Scarlet Shield. It's great. We'll talk about it when we get to the cards. We'll throw that in with the Black Widow cards. It looks real nice. And then it's the only way to get it. Next season, you'll be able to buy up to 2 copies from value packs. And also, it'll be the top 100 reward again. And then after that season, it will rotate to a new card, and they're going to continue this cycle of adding new cards this way. And Scarlet Shield will get added to the general pack. So even if you don't get it top 100, if you don't want to buy it, if you're entirely free to play and not going to hit the top of the ladder, you'll still be able to get it within a couple months.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's balanced for everybody. The hardest grinders will get it first, and then you'll be able to buy it after that, and then it'll be available in general packs after that for crafting.
Yeah, and I'd also like to note, it is not going to be as impactful to games as Thanos is and was.
Right, and also, it doesn't, like, with Thanos, you benefit a lot from multiple copies. This, it's a tactics card, so maybe not so much, although it is stackable. So, we'll talk about it. New skills. All of our heroes, except the new hero Black Widow, now have a 5th hero skill available. It's in the store. We're going to go through those as well today. I think probably mixed reviews on these, but we'll go through them. Season pass, of course. And yeah, that's it for all the major stuff. Outrider got nerfed, and Drax got nerfed. Drax got almost reverted, but he's a little worse than his original form.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. All right. Any other pre-diving in comments?
Just as a side note, Outrider nerf, it impacts you once you have more of a full board, but actually, if it's only like level 2 or shop 2 on your first turn, it's not really a nerf. You're just flat even. They just changed it when you have full board.
So
still usable.
The stat allocation is a little bit better on him, but worse with multiple things. Yeah.
We also have a spectator mode for your friends, which is pretty cool. So if you have friends and you want to see what they're playing, that's really fun to see. That's all in real time.
What if you don't have friends like me?
Oh man, it feels bad. It feels bad. I think that's pretty much, and I believe they did say 1 point. It was like in the patch notes, but I think they took it out. So I think we're going to get that in a future update. Replay mode should be a thing in this game,
Right?
So I think that's going to be coming in the near future. Not exactly, we don't know exactly when, but that is a feature that will be coming very soon to the game, which I do like also.
Yeah, I think that'll be a nice thing to go back and be able to watch your plays. Ideally, I don't know if this will be the case, but being able to see every player's like moves and hands across the whole game would be cool. I don't know if that's going to be an option, but if it was more fully fleshed out like that, that would be great. All right, so do we want to start with the fifth hero skills for everybody, and then do Black Widow last, and then jump into her card pool as well?
Let's do that.
Good.
Okay, so we'll start at the top of the list here. You guys should be able to see my blue stacks, yes?
Yep.
Okay, great. We'll start with Star-Lord. As a note, all of these skills can only be obtained by purchasing them from the shop for either ISO gems or Stardust. So save your ISO gems, or just fork over the cash and buy them if you want them. They do rotate through the shop though; they're not all available at once. Star-Lord, Milano Rescue. This is an active skill. I don't know what the cost is. Once per game, summon as many non-repetitive Guardians of the Galaxy characters as possible, whose costs are no higher than the shop level. That's pretty sweet. I imagine it's expensive because you're filling up your board.
Non-repetitive is a new key phrase that they're putting in this game. A lot of the Black Widow Intel cards have it, but this skill, the way it works is, as long as you don't have that Guardians character on your field, it'll summon them.
So, and then it caps out at the shop level, though it's not equal to the shop level, it's equal or less than the shop level. So you could hit anything up to whatever it is. So I imagine, again, I don't know what this costs. I wish this had the gem cost on it, because that's pretty relevant.
Actually, it's ideal if you're running, say, like an Ego deck. You can just pop it on 4 if you haven't drawn Ego yet, and there you go, you'll have him.
Yeah, because there's, how many? You got Ego, Drax... Gladiator,
Drax, Gladiator, Cosmo,
Mantis, Cosmo, Groot. Rocket.
Yep.
So there's 7. So there's a chance you could miss him. You could hit the other 6, but I think there's only 7.
You'd ideally just clean out your whole board and use this skill.
Right. Yeah. You sell out, use it. Now, of course, you won't be able to pair anything because it's going to be non-repetitive unless you're holding that in your hand already. But again, you could really set up that turn nicely by either selling out or holding something from the previous turn. Generate the full board, and then maybe pair something that's already in hand. Seems cool. We just need to know how much it costs to see if it's even doable on turn 4. This might cost like 20 or something because you're getting 6 cards, or up to 6 cards, right? Which is a lot of value potentially.
Yeah.
All right, that seems cool.
As long as it's affordable, I would put it in high B tier. I'd say.
Yeah, honestly that's better than a lot of his powers.
Yeah.
He does not have a lot of super, super great powers. He has a couple great ones, but that's the way it goes. Thor. Asgard. Does somebody else want to take this? We want to rotate through these?
Yeah. Okay, this one is a complete troll card. I've always advertised in any card game I play, do not choose cards that will intentionally incentivize you to lose rounds.
Yeah.
What this skill does is, once you've lost your 4th time in a match, at the start of your next turn, assuming you haven't died yet, it'll add basic copies of all the characters that are on your battlefield to your hand.
It's like it's a much worse version of the one we just looked at.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
This card it'll be good if it wasn't on. Was it turn 4? You get your
turn
skill?
4. You have to lose 4 times, but the earliest you can proc it is turn 4.
No. I'm saying, but like on turn 4, you can you get your skill, right? Does your previous losses count before activating this card?
I would imagine so. Yes. So you can.
Because I'm about to say, because if it didn't count,
right? So on turn 1, you buy 2 things. You only play 1 to throw turn 1, right? And then you just leave 1. You stay 1 card behind the whole time. And then even on 3, you could like urgent shrink, right? And then you're accelerating. I don't know. It seems maybe possible to throw, but if you throw the first 3 rounds and the power doesn't come up, you're totally hosed, right? Because you're not guaranteed to get the power.
Also, not to mention, what if you accidentally win one game?
Right. What if someone
Now
else
you
is
have to go
playing for it
another
too?
round.
Yeah.
Oh,
And if you lose a higher level round or a higher
Right.
round in a higher match, your odds are you're going to take a lot more
Yeah.
damage.
Throwing on turn 5 or higher is really rough. You really don't want to do that. You could just die. Yeah, this seems rough. Although, I guess you stack it with urgent shrink, right? That's what you do is you stack a bunch of urgent shrink in this if you're trying to go for this, but I don't even know if it's worth it.
If we're going S to like D tier, I would put this in like D tier.
Right. And also, like, do you really want an extra basic copy of all your characters that you have on turn 4, or you would want this to proc later when you have better stuff?
Yeah.
It's just hard, it's hard to make work. The Star-Lord one is much better because you have a lot more control. This is free. That's the upside, is that it doesn't cost anything. It's passive. It'll just trigger. But yeah,
Avoid.
yeah,
Avoid.
not recommending that one. All right, John, you want to take Captain Marvel here?
all right. We have Photonic Burst, right? Or Photonic?
Yep.
Something like
Photonic Burst.
that. Yeah, it's a passive skill. When you play a character card with a star level 1, give them 50% more power and armor until the end of the next battle. Interesting. It's a cool starburst. Like, again, we don't know how much it costs, to play it. But giving anything 1 starburst and giving 50% power and armor, that's pretty cool. So you can probably give that to like your Marvel, so that way if you're trying to find them quicker, and he can stack better. Because once he's 2 stars, he's a lot better.
Right, but this won't work when he's 2 stars. It's only on a star level 1.
So the way this works, for example, is if you have, say, a Nova, and you just pick him up from the shop, he's star level 1, you put him down, then when you put him down, he's going to get an additional 50% of that 9 power, which would, I think it rounds down.
A nice 4.5 power there? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he would be at 13 power instead of 9.
Mm-hmm. Right, but only for that turn.
Really well with Ragnarok units, because it gives also the bonus armor and power.
Yeah. Also, if you're doing, like, I feel like this would be great, like, for instance, like my Whiplash deck, right? Because you're cycling units really aggressively and you're always having new stuff on the board every turn except for Whiplash. You're moving through your deck very quickly. You're going to benefit a lot from this. And also, John, you can use this. You can use this if you have a 2-star on board. Then you play the 3rd copy. The 3rd copy benefits, and then if you get the 4th copy, you can pick them all up and get benefit. Add the total from the 3rd copy for that 1 turn back on. So there is some manipulation you can do with this. I think this is really cool, and this is certainly something I would be willing to try.
Yeah, just because I think you can play this in any deck. I think I would put this at like A tier.
It's universally playable. It works with all cards.
This actually, you were saying about Ragnarok. Actually, though, Ragnarok have really big defense and really good attack. Mm-hmm. Having them at 1 star is pretty good with this 50% buff. So that can actually make you win a round easily.
Yep.
So
Laffy deck, like here we go. It's happening.
Laffy, yeah.
With all the Frost guys. All right, Iron Man. Back to me. Armor upgrade, a passive. When you upgrade the shop to level 6, move a random character on your battlefield to your hand and add a copy of them to your hand. I don't know. That's fine.
That's interesting.
Going to 6 though is I don't know. I always play decks that stop on 5.
This only procs 1 time,
right?
And so I'll say it is better than at least one other of his perks, but only one other perk.
The one where you pick them all up.
It's random. Yeah. It's random though. Oh no, I read that.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not very good.
It says move a random character on your board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
So you have a 1 in 6 chance of hitting what you want,
right?
Depending on your deck.
Again, maybe in like a Whiplash deck where you only have
I don't know.
Whiplash.
Yeah, but in Whiplash, there's like I'm taking Enter the Armory, or Grand Invention, or Firepower over that most likely. Because in Whiplash, you're sitting on 5 for a long time. So yeah,
it's not completely useless like the Thor one. I would put this at like low C tier.
Yeah, it's marginally better than that one, but like Iron Man still has probably the best power spread in the game. Yeah. So like you're one that's even average probably isn't going to make the cut for him.
Yep.
All right, Spider-Man. Who are we on? Is it Faith? Is this up to you?
Okay, yes, Hero's Duty. This is a perk that I was messing around with quite a bit on the first day. What it is you activate it. It costs 4 gems. and it hyper bursts a character to star level 4 and removes them at the start of the next turn. So a key thing to keep in mind when you activate this, it takes away any buffs that they currently have and resets them to base stats. So, for example, if you had like a Hydra or Hydro armor, it would take away that bonus power that you got for playing it and reset it back down to 1 and then multiply it up to 4.
Interesting. Yeah. I assume the value here is that you get the Starburst. Right? You get the scheme card.
You do not. You don't get the scheme.
Oh, I was gonna say, because if you get the scheme, this is awesome, right? Because you're generating. You can generate a 6-cost scheme every single turn.
It stays on the board, and it's just based.
Oh, it stays on board. Got it. Okay. Right. It doesn't pick them up and do it. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Honestly, I didn't find it to be that worth it.
Yeah.
Because you're investing a lot of gems to do this.
Yeah, you could. Potentially you could build around it. Like you could find cards that really benefited from having that particular effect. You could combine it with things like Overload, which is going to remove it anyways and give it plus 20 power. So that I guess there's some potential things you could play around with, but losing a card for nothing always feels bad.
I was testing around, just doing stuff like playing like a Moonstone and jumping it to 4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
But again, when you do that, you're effectively spending 8 gems not going towards your end game build.
Right. And then you lose a copy later.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I would put this in like it's usable, but it's not the best.
Yeah.
All right, we have a Hela Army of Illusions passive. After a friendly illusion taking action, change them into a copy of a random character on the battlefield. So obviously this just blatantly talks about Grandmaster Loki type of combo. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Random is always a scary thing.
It's too niche. There's no reliable way to get, because to get the max value out of this, you want to have your board full of illusions, and at the moment right now, there's really no way to do that other than
Grandmaster
and trading places, things like that.
Yeah, trading places definitely makes it interesting, right? Because if they survive, they get to change into something better because they only have 1 power.
Sure, if they get to their action before they die.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. This seems. I feel like there's got to be more illusion support coming at some point because the deck's just not quite there yet. But it feels like there's maybe something cool that could be done with it long term once we get more cards.
Yeah, illusion is just an archetype that it's kind of been just the kid brother to Maverick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this doesn't support the Grandmaster Illusion build at all, which is already doing its own thing. Whether you're doing that the more traditional build or with Loki, this doesn't feel needed for that because you don't want your Lokis changing. You want them to continue being Lokis, or you want your Malekiths to continue being Malekiths rather than anything else. Yeah. Electra. This is back to me. Wait.
Yep.
Okay. Assassin Reborn passive skill. You control at least 3 different quests. All the damage you take is -3.
That's not bad. As somebody that likes to play a lot of quest type of decks, this card is not that bad. I like it.
Is this you as a player, or is it you plus your units?
I haven't tested this.
If this applies to your board, it's awesome. If it doesn't, if it only applies to you, I don't know. I'd rather take her other powers.
Yeah. I haven't tested, so I can't really comment, but it does say all the damage you take.
Right. But it says you, not your characters.
You, yeah. It doesn't say your units or anything, so...
Yeah.
Inclined to think.
Yeah, I mean, if this applies to, your characters on board, it's very good. Especially, in the mid-range. At the end game, 3 isn't going to make a difference for the most part, but mid-game, this could be very relevant.
And this works in those Daredevil decks that usually have 3 or 4 active quests at a time.
Yeah, and also with Daredevil, I guess you may be throwing a round or 2 trying to set him up.
Mm-hmm.
John, you seem the most high on this. Do you got any particular thoughts that came to mind?
If it's for your whole board, it's a really good effect. But if it's just damage that you're taking, it's pretty good because even when you're playing as Daredevil, sometimes you just can't get there early game, and taking -3 damage is a lot better than taking full damage because you're always playing with one unit less than your opponent on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So like that extra 3 health can add up after a while of you trying to like if you're failing too much, then you can kind of pivot. So I guess it gives you more of a cushion, like another turn or so.
Sure. You can see how much I play Electra here.
All the love.
Yeah, not a lot there. And finally, here we are, Black Widow. I've been working her. I almost got her to level 10. You want to go through these one at a time here?
Yeah, sure. All right. So this first one's called Widow's Sting, and it's a passive skill. When a cloaked character loses their cloaks, then you give the adjacent characters to them +4 power. I'd give this like solid B tier.
Yep.
It's usable,
yep,
but it's not doing much for you compared to some of the stronger hero abilities in the game. There are ways in Black Widow's cards to recloak units, but to use that as an effective strategy and rely on losing your cloaks, not dying, and then reactivating them to increase your power, it doesn't sound too good.
Most of the time when I take this, it's because it gives +4 gems, and then I get some mid-range benefit, right? But it's almost always +4, so that's the reason I usually end up taking it, and it's certainly a lot better than the other option, at least before everything's unlocked. Is this one.
All right, so this one's called Undercovered Operation. Passive skill. At the start of the turn, gain 1 random intelligence card of your current opponent. Try not to repeat the intelligence card you already have. So I don't play Black Widow like that because she's still very new to me. So what is in the world is intelligence?
Okay. So intelligence card is one of the 2 archetypes of Black Widow. Basically, if you produce an intelligence card, and there's various ways to do that, you get a copy in your hand that has a picture of the card that you got the intelligence for. And what it will do is when you start the battle, the card that you have the intelligence for reduces the power of that card by 5 per level of intelligence you have. So if for example, they have a gladiator with 20 power and you have an intel level of 1 on the gladiator, when you start the battle, it'll subtract 5 from him and he'll be at 15. If you have 2, then it'll subtract 10 and it'll be at 10. If you have 3, it'll subtract 15 and it'll be at 5.
Yep, and the intelligence cards will always be something that your opponent has on the board. Right?
Initially, yes, but they can always sell out and then you don't get anything.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And I've had that happen multiple times.
Sure. Yeah, the intelligence deck definitely is not as good as the cloak deck, at least in early testing. The cloak deck is pretty consistently strong. It can do some absurdly silly things and just builds a ridiculous board sometimes. The intelligence deck, you're relying on a lot of things that aren't necessarily guaranteed to proc. I also, just as a note, I really dislike that in the tutorial for intelligence, they talk about it. They're like, you can just look at your opponent's board by clicking on their avatar. See? Click it, and you can see exactly what they have, so you can set up your intelligence plays. But that doesn't work on the ladder or in the arena, which are the game modes people are actually playing. So that, I feel like that's a pretty poor thing to put in their tutorial when that doesn't work in the modes anybody's actually going to play.
Yep.
Yeah, just a little rant with that there. I was like, that's very misleading to make them think that's going to work, because it's not at all. Yeah, so this one just gets you 1 every turn. It's fine. I mean, I assume if you're playing the intelligence deck, you may want this because you need extra copies.
In an intelligence deck, this is like A tier,
right?
But if you're not running an intelligence deck, this is like D tier,
right? You're subtracting 5 power from 1 random unit if you're not an intelligence deck per turn. That's probably not powerful enough generally, outside of maybe turn 4, to get you much. Yeah, we'll talk about the intelligence cards once we get there as well.
Not to mention, if you pick up this skill, you're not going to get the effect until the next turn.
Oh,
right,
wow.
Right, yeah, because it's at the start, right?
Yep.
So you have to wait for the turn to cycle all the way through. Intelligence Gathering, active skill. Assemble a character card that you have their intelligence card in your hand, then remove the intelligence card of the selected character. I don't know how much this costs, but it also...
So is that like a kill spell, pretty much?
No. You get a copy. So if you generate an intelligence card of one of your opponent's cards and you have it in your hand, you use this ability, and then you actually get a real copy of that card.
Oh.
which is permanent. But like, because intelligence is random and can be whatever, it seems
So
not super high value because it's probably not playing into what your deck is going to want to be doing.
yeah, I mean it scales very well. Like if you
Right.
can get intel on like 6-cost cards, it can be worked out well. Like for Thanos or Angela's,
Mhm.
things like that.
Sure. I
But
think
the thing
this
is, if you're playing Intel, you're probably dead before the.
right. And if you're playing Intel, this is probably better than the other option. Right. This seems the
Yeah.
better of the two options. Although again, cost is relevant. I don't know how much this costs. I would guess it probably costs 4+ to generate a card that could be potentially really high value.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure how it's a symbol, so you get to choose. So I assume you choose from up to 3 intelligence cards you have in your hand. Right? It'll give you a random selection out of 3 if you have 3+.
Yeah.
Or you'll choose from out of 3. So it'll say, okay, you have 4. Here's a random selection of 3 of those. Then you choose one of those.
Yep.
Because that's how a symbol usually functions. So I don't know. That seems better. That makes me more inclined to at least try intelligence once I get that unlocked.
Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. This last skill, Stealth Cover, is a passive skill. Start of battle will give your rightmost character +6 power and cloak. This is the skill that I think is actually going to be the best skill to use with Black Widow, because it is not selective of like character type. It doesn't, keywords don't matter. Any character that you want cloaked, that you want to protect in the battle, put them on the rightmost spot and they'll be cloaked.
Yep.
So this is like the ideal ability for if you're running a support Widow.
Right. Now, of course, your opponents can see that you're running this, so they can try and snipe out that slot as well if you're going to try and protect something with it. So then it becomes a little bit of a chess match of, doing a feint and putting something that you don't really want there, but just to eat the snipe because they're going to snipe that slot.
There are less methods to do that with though now. Like the only cards really at like Shop 5 are Prime and Stealth. Sure. Because Drax Assault is no longer Assault. So They would have to wait until it got to the very end of their board to hit it.
Mm. Yeah.
And cards
Angela on 6.
So I think like cards like Destroyer is really good with this, because you cloak the Destroyer because you want to keep him at last slot and give him 6 power, and then he just doubles his strength and just pierce, annihilate, destroys everything. So pretty good.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, this is rightmost. It's not slot 6. It's rightmost. So you could have 2 units, and the right one will still benefit from this and get the cloak, so that they're guaranteed to kill the left unit first. So it quasi gives that left unit guard, which is interesting. And also, like, if you're playing a stealth deck, other things will probably have stealth as well. So you can use this to stealth something that doesn't naturally have it, and then force specific targets to be hit. Yeah. Like Red Guardian, who has Retaliate or something along those lines, right? The options are there. Yeah. Also, just note with this first ability, I didn't talk about it at the moment, but it is all adjacent characters. There's a lot of her cloak abilities generally only affect her faction, the agent's tags. This one does not. It buffs any adjacent characters. So that is that. Let's look at her card set.
I believe she has 23 new cards.
23, yeah.
Nice.
So that's a hefty amount of new cards to talk about today.
Mm-hmm. And then we have we have 3 other new cards we need to talk about as well at the end. Scarlet Shield, Hydra Infiltration, and Red Wing.
Yep.
So we'll hit those as well. Okay, yep. They're all here. Let's just start at the beginning. So there's basically 2 categories of cards, right? There's intelligence cards and cloak cards, and a couple cards that are neither, I guess. But we can just continue cycling through. I think I went last, so Faith.
Yeah. So we have Iron Maiden. It's a 2-cost red card, and it's at the start of the battle. For each non-character card in your hand, this card gains 1 power. So as long as you're holding like equipment, or for example, this is going to be more for your Intel decks. Mm-hmm. As long as you have Intel cards in your hand, it'll also add power.
Yep. And this scales 1 power, 2 power, 4 power if you run multiple copies, but I feel like it's probably not good enough to where you would want to run multiple copies. It's early game only.
Yeah. There's not a lot of 2-cost cards you would want to run 4 copies of.
No, very few. And that applies to this one as well.
This one I actually won 4 copies of.
Yeah, and we also have a brand new keyword too, agents. So agents is a brand new keyword for Black Widow.
Yep.
So we have a 2-drop support for 4-power recluse.
Mm-hmm.
A weird name. She just has cloak. That's it.
Yep. That's all she gets. So all right.
No.
So why do you run 4 copies of this, Faith?
So I run 4 copies of this because if you only run 1 copy, random things like pings from Hydra bombardment or IG pings can just randomly kill her. So I like to keep her alive and get her proccing with Black Widow.
Interesting. I don't like. She's usually gone by the time I get later. I'm not worried about her. Interesting.
The more cloaked units I have on board means the more power I can steal.
But I know I run one more agent's unit than you do. So that's probably the difference, is because I'm building into one more unit later, and you're and so yeah, that makes sense. Electroshock batons for 2-drop for attack characters. It's a weapon plus 3 power, and the first time you get a non-character card, give the equipped character plus 3 power until the end of the next battle. The 3, and then a potential bonus 3 for once. So seems okay. I'm not running it. I don't think there's really room to run it, at least in the current list.
Yeah,
it reminds me of the Whiplash card from Iron Man.
Yeah, but it's way worse because it only triggers once. The Whiplash whips trigger an infinite amount of times, as many times as you can make them trigger. This will only trigger 1 time.
Yeah, not too great.
Faith?
All right, what do we got? Widow's Gauntlets. This one, I still am up. I run this sometimes, I sometimes don't. It just depends on how I'm feeling. But what this does, it's a 2-cost equipment card for your support characters. And what you do, it equips. It doesn't give them any additional power or anything, but it does give them puncture and the special action of dealing 2 damage. So special action means it replaces their attack, and it'll trigger up to 3 times in the battle. This works great with your cloaked units because if they're only using this special action to deal damage, that means they're not taking any return damage, which means they stay cloaked, which means you get more procs out of Black Widow. The only downside to this, I'm a fan of running more character cards early, so I don't lose a lot of life.
Me too. I am running this though because it plays super, super well with Crossbones. This will exactly take out the guys that Crossbones generates, because it has puncture, so it cuts right through the armor. So it's effectively eliminating 4 armor every turn on top of the ability. So I really like it for that reason, because I'm running Crossbones in my Black Widow deck.
I also like this for for Zola. Zola will have puncture now, which is pretty devastating. And of course the IG decks. Giving them puncture. It's pretty silly.
I've seen people running 3 or 4 copies of this in IG decks, and it's pretty out of hand because they all just get puncture. Like that's why it's not even the damage; it's just the puncture.
Like giving this to Supreme Intelligence also, or giving this to Ronan.
Yeah,
it's just stupid. Pretty silly.
Yeah, it's really rough on Ronan.
Just snipe, just eat everything away. So I think this card is fantastic. It's definitely going to see a huge amount of play. And if you're playing support, this is a card you should be playing in your deck. Yeah, because puncture is really good.
Yeah, this is already giving me flashbacks to Puncture Punisher from Season 0, which was, oh my god.
And it's cheaper. And it's cheaper too, because it's only a 2 cost.
2. Yeah, so you can run all of them. Yeah, it's really dumb.
Yeah, so this card you should be playing multiple of. All right, we're playing. Oh my god, I always get the crazy names. Yolanda Belova. I think that's how you say it.
Yelena.
Yelena, there you go.
Yelena Belova.
I was thinking of Yolanda Vega from the. I don't know, for those who live in New York, you'll know what I'm talking about. But she's a 3-drop power. She's a 3-drop power, 6 cost. 3-drop power units with 6 attack. She has Speed Strike, a very unique skill there, and she has Cloaked. Invocation, add a tactics card with a cost no more than the shop level to the shop. So she has a lot going on for herself for a 3-drop.
This is my favorite card in her set. Maybe along with the 5-drop Black Widow, but this is my favorite card. This is the card I want to play with the most. I think Speed Strike is insanely good. Speed Strike with Cloaked is kind of busted because if she hits and it kills them, they don't hit her back and she keeps her cloaked.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's insane. And
I think Speed Strike is on only 2 units. We have a Red Hulk and was it Tiri or
Tyr?
Tari,
Yeah, so she's the third. And she's the Red Hulk costs 5, Tyr costs 4, and she costs 3. She's our first 3-drop with Speed Strike. I'm a huge fan. Also, the Invocation. The current way I have the deck build, it's not really working. It'll work better in Faith's list. I know you're running some more useful tactics. And then also with the new the Scarlet Shield, I think this would be really good. Once we get our hands on it.
She's going to be a 4 of in either Cloaked or Intel, because there's also an Intel Tactics card that costs 3.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're playing Intel, you're going to want to run. And if you're playing Cloaked, she's obviously auto-include.
And she's just like, just multiple strong keywords on one card at a good stat line is just like worth playing almost always, right? And if you're in faction. She's just a really, really good 3-drop for any deck.
If you're playing another deck archetype, something that relies on tactics cards, for example, Daredevil and King of New York, you can pull those for you.
Yeah, it's any tactics. It's not just from Black Widow set. So, as a tutor for tactics cards, that's really strong. All right, back to me. Damon Dran. When another friendly agent's character takes action, this card gains 7 armor, or 14 armor, or 28 armor, depending on his star level. I think he's really good. I think he's worth playing. The 3-drop slot is a little crowded because you always want Yelena, and then maybe either tactics card, depending on the deck, but I think he's really good. I've been playing with him a bunch. His armor can get absurd. It's based on their action, so I often will play Ultron in this deck. And you put a weapon on your Black Widow, you put a weapon on one of the other support characters, and then you put Ultron between them, or you cloak him, and they take a bunch of actions, and then he keeps getting triggers for that, and it's really silly. Also, Ultron on Black Widow is hilarious, just in general.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, no, this card is really good. It's just like you mentioned, the 3 slot for Black Widow is really congested.
It's very crowded, yeah.
Like Yelena is an auto include no matter what. And then I was running Damon initially in my Cloak deck, but I found that
Dodge Strike.
We'll get to Dodge Strike.
Yeah. That's the other contender for sure.
Yeah, it helps you out versus the early AoEs.
Yeah, and Damon is just in a weird spot because there's often not room for him because you want the shield, but you generally want to put that on Throg instead because Throg is nuts with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This next card, Natasha Romanova. Romanova. The A on there.
Romanova. Right.
So what she does, she's a 3-drop support card, and when you play her, you will assemble an intelligence card of your opponent. Keyword being assemble, meaning you can select which card you get intel on. She is an 8 power card, so there's that. She is strong on her own. If we weren't looking at any of the other 3-drops in this deck, she's probably a solid B tier card for your intel decks. But the way it works now, if you're playing intel, you probably want to be running Yelena to generate Red Room Training, which we're going to go over next, because Natasha does not scale into the end game. You're going to get her, you play her, and that's it. You don't get any more intel cards out of her.
Right. I think if she, on Star Up, if she generated 2 and then maybe 3 copies, or 2 and 3 intelligence triggers on a symbol, she would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, her base stats are good at 8 for 3, but Yelena's better, even though she's only 6, because she has awesome keywords. Whereas Natasha has no keywords, and like you said, doesn't scale well. However, here's our next card, which you just talked about.
All right, Red Room Training as a 3-cost card. It is at the start of turn, gain 1 random intelligence card of your current opponent. Try not to repeat the intelligence card you already have. Is this a trigger effect? Like it always stays on the board?
Yeah, this is a tactic, so it sits in the tactic pocket.
It's a tactic card.
Yeah.
And then
So
It's actually pretty good.
Is when you see this, you're spending 3 gems and you're not going to get any effect till the next turn.
right.
So again, Intel is just in a weird spot where it's just slow to play, and it's a win more deck. So if you're not winning already, you're just gonna get further behind.
Yeah, and this is why I like Cloaked a lot better.
I think this card is sitting in a good spot because normally if you're going on turn 4, your board is you're pretty much going to keep whatever good 3-drops that are on board, and you're probably going to stick with that for a couple of turns. So this card actually does recruit some type of value. I would feel like towards like turn 4 or turn 5, because you're probably going to keep 1 or 2 same units on the board for the most part for most people. I don't know. It's just a myth.
Sure, and like I mean, with the intelligence deck, you want to be accruing a lot of intelligence cards every turn to for your end game play, which is a very strong play if you can get it all set up. It's just a lot of work. Which is 6-drop Black Widow is pretty nuts if you can make her work, but it's a lot of effort to get there. And here's the other tactics card at 3, Dodge Strike. Once per battle, when a friendly cloaked agent's character takes no more than 16 damage, block that damage. It's really good. 16 is a very high cap, and it's a very specific number because there are a lot of 15 power units in the game. Or units that at 2-star become 15 power, or I guess at 3-star become 15 power. But like, it seems there are a lot of 15s. So blocking 16 specifically is really good.
Yeah, fantastic card for cloak deck. It'll save your butt.
Yep.
As long as it's not a crit unit bypasses this. I'm assuming most of the time,
right,
because they're doing double
but
damage.
The crit unit has to hit it, and if your unit is cloaked, odds are they're not going to hit it.
Right. If they're already cloaked, they're not getting hit unless your whole board is cloaked. So this is generally only on a swing back after a cloaked character swings. On the swing back, this can block that, and they keep their cloak if the damage is blocked.
Yep.
Which is the really relevant thing.
Oh wow.
There's
no Moonstone proc.
There's a weird tension in the cloak deck where there are some things where you want your guys to become uncloaked, and then there's sometimes you want them to remain cloaked. And I feel like even within the cloak deck, there might be 2 ways to build it where you want to be losing cloak sometimes and not losing, because like the power is like, the base power is the passive. Anytime something becomes uncloaked, it buffs the 2 things next to it by 4. Right? So that you want to be losing cloak, reapplying cloak, losing cloak, reapplying cloak. But then there are others where you just want to keep the cloak on as much as possible.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This next card, Ivan Petrovich. He is a 4-drop red card, and he starts the battle cloaked. He has 7 power, and after he launches his attack, he gives the adjacent agents plus 5 power and cloak.
Or 10 or 20.
Or 10 or 20, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This card, I am running this card. I feel like it's depending on your matchups, it's a good insurance policy. For example, if you're up against the Moonstone and you haven't drawn Dodge Strike yet, and the Moonstone goes off and decloaks a couple units, he goes up and he recloaks them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's your main recloak guy. I've been pretty underwhelmed by him. I've played him a fair bit. I'm running him because there are no other good options. There are basically 2 options for the cloak deck and 2 options for the intel deck, but I think the shield's probably good enough to run in either. But there's only 4 4-drops, and it's basically 2 and 2. So
yeah, I don't know. My endgame board usually has 4 cloaked units, so he's usually on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
We have Red Guardian Shields, a 4-drop. It's a Guardian card. So you can attach to all Guardians. Plus 3 power, plus 3 armor. After a friendly cloaked agent character taking action, give them the equipped plus 3/+3 power and armor.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
This is one of the best cards in the set. It's ridiculous.
So basically, for 4, you're giving +6/+6. In a sense.
Put this on Throg and laugh. He triggers lightning every single time this goes off, and then you put an Ultron next to your Black Widow, and she triggers like 4 times in a row, and Throg triggers every time she triggers, and she's draining somebody every time she triggers, and it gets real out of control. I really want to leverage this in like a full-on Odin deck at some point as well, because then Throg will trigger, which will make Odin trigger, then Throg will trigger, which will make Odin trigger, and so on and so forth. Yeah. This card's really good, and then just on anybody really, this card's good, but It's especially synergistic and busted with Throg. Yeah. Anybody else that's been like, I'll put it on Drawn sometimes or Red Guardian sometimes, but I haven't found somebody better than Throg to jam it on.
Yeah. No, if Throg is continuously getting powered up by, because that's what you want to do every time his defense gets powered up, he triggers.
Right.
So that
against armor.
Yeah. So especially if you have a 4-star Throg, oh my gosh, it's just going to be gross.
Right, and also don't forget this applies to Red Guardian as well. Both Throg and Red Guardian have Iron Will, so if they lose all their armor and they don't have Iron Will anymore, this will give them armor again after a cloaked takes character. So then they have Iron Will again and they won't die. Like it's because 3 armor is enough they won't die unless it's puncture. So you can use this with both of them, of course, to just continually abuse Iron Will.
Yeah, anyone with Iron will benefit to some degree with this.
Korg the All-Star. This might be my least favorite of the cards in the set. I'm not sure. I haven't played around with it much, but I haven't played Intel much yet. 4-drop support weapon, I guess, item. Special action. Reveal an intelligence card. Summon a copy of the corresponding character on the battlefield and give them the agent's keyword. Trigger 4 times in each battle. This is the card that I read it and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of work for potentially not much gain. Also, it doesn't work if your board is full.
Yeah, no. It's no.
Maybe there's a hybrid build, right, where you can jam this on a cloaked character because then it'll keep going off, but you need to put them far enough back in the lineup where you're gonna have board space, but also like not die. I don't know. It's just really awkward. It feels like.
It's in that category, the same category as like Dark Elves and the Collector, where you're getting like opponent cards and
yeah. No, this is a Tony Stark special. You're always giving this out to people.
It's like even if you get a card, it's like a 1-star version of them. Is that even good? Especially like you're talking about turn 4 now, going to turn 5.
Yeah, probably not. No.
You want to start seeing your power plays at that time. Yeah. And otherwise, you're just going to sit behind and you're going to have like what, a 1-star ego? What do you do? Right. 1 power. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that good. I'm super not interested in this card, really.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing against a mirror match, then I can see something else. Because then if you're copying somebody's Black Widow and you're playing Black Widow, like that gets a little bit more crazy for you.
Right.
So.
All right. This next one is an activatable card, and it's called Spiceball. It's a 4-drop, and what it allows you to do is it'll assemble an intelligence card of your current opponent and then gain 2 more copies. Basically, just giving you a level 3 intelligence card on one of your opponents.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the core cards if you're playing Intel because it stacks with the 5-drop tactics card, wherein if you have at least a level 2 tactics card or Intel card on an opponent, whenever they take an action, they'll take 200 damage before they get to take their action.
Yep. So this is one of the main engines for that deck. But again, this is an action, so you only get 4 of them. You get 4 shots at it, and then you don't get any more. It's not a tactics or whatever else to continually generate intelligence.
This is the problem with intelligence decks: is there's no reliable way to really generate more than 1-star Intel cards.
Right. Well, you can get the power, and then you can stack Red Room, right? And that's it. But like it's random.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they all try not to repeat themselves. So unless you already have 6 Intel cards, you're not going to be getting a level 2.
Right. So this is really your only effective way of doing it.
Wow.
Yep.
Here comes the star player.
Yeah, this is it.
All right, so this is me?
Yeah.
All right, Black Widow is a 5-drop, supports 16 power, cloaked. Before a friendly cloaked agent character taking action, they steal. They steals. That's weird. 10 power and 10 armor from the opponent with the highest power. So I'm assuming she steals.
No, they steal. Whoever's taking action steals 10 power and 10 armor, or 20 and 20, or 40 and 40, depending on her star level. This is one of the best cards in the game, basically instantly by herself, right? Like even if you don't have any other, she's nuts. Yeah.
We talk about tempo to 5 swing cards, and she's one of the best out there.
She's
No?
one of the best, and that's my favorite play. So, yeah.
So all your cloak agents will steal 10 power, 10 armor, not including herself.
Right. No, including herself. It's any cloaked agent.
So
Anytime they take an action, they steal 10 power and 10 armor. Yep. From the highest opponent.
okay, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
Let me paint you a picture, John. Just picture this in your mind, right? So you have your Black Widow. Maybe she's at 2 stars, and you've given her a weapon. You've given her the machine gun. Next to her is Ultron, who is cloaked by Red Guardian next to him. So your Black Widow is going to go off 3 times, and that's going to steal 20 power and 20 armor, fire the weapon, steal 20 power and 20 armor, fire the weapon, steal 20 power and 20 armor, fire the weapon. And it moves from whatever is the highest power thing, so that might shift each time to whatever their highest thing is. And you've just drained 60 power and 60 armor from your opponent's board on your first thing before you've even started your turn.
And that's a 2-star? Oh my
That's a 2-star.
god. Because I haven't seen this in action yet. That sounds kind of ridiculous.
It's very, very silly.
Give me like 5 seconds. I'm uploading a little clip that I made.
Oh,
and
great.
You can check it out, John.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds pretty. And she does that. Oh wow, she steals 40. Look at the 4-star version of that.
And the 4-star steals 40. Honestly, my favorite play, even more than having the 4-star, is having a 2-star and a 1-star split by an Ultron. Because they can target different things. So it'll steal 20 and 20, and then the second one will proc off the first one's first action, and it'll proc maybe off a different thing. So then they're each hitting multiple targets each time, and that's per action per cloaked character. And by giving them weapons, because they're support, they will stay cloaked because they won't get hit back.
So she's basically the best card in the set. Her set.
Mm-hmm. Which is good. That the namesake card is the best card in the set. There's also another Black Widow.
Sure.
Which we'll
there is, but
she's less good. I think she has tech potential, but yeah, she's less good.
Check out that clip, John.
Yeah, you'll get to see her in action. I don't have a good way of putting this up. Sorry, guys. Oh god, there's music in there. I need to stop it. I want us to get.
Is that me?
DMCA'd. Music
down. Oh no.
Yep, there she goes. Good times. Good times. Oh, you had the quad blasters on her too. Nice.
Yep.
Yep. Just the.
Oh, okay.
The full.
Oh my goodness, that's gross.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
No, it's very silly.
Oh my goodness, I want to see her everywhere.
Indeed. However, moving on. Next card. Red Guardian. He's a 5-drop Guardian character. 10 armor, 10 power. Comes with Iron Will and Retaliate. Also, he has Assault and Last Words. Give the adjacent characters cloaked. Again, this is just stacking a lot of things. I like him a lot. I know I'm playing him in my lists. I know he's not mandatory. I think there is another great 5-drop option which we'll get to. He does do some cool things, especially if you're I'm really into jamming Ultron with this deck. So you can use him to cloak your Ultron so that your Ultron doesn't get attacked by anybody preemptively. But also just having strong keyword combinations is really nice, and he enables you to cloak your non-agents cards with Assault out the gate so that he's effectively the only thing that can be targeted, and with his combination of Iron Will and Retaliate, it's he can stick around for a minute.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, having Iron Will and Retaliate as keywords together, and on top of that with Assault, that's just...
Yeah. I'm only running 2 copies because he doesn't gain anything from adding extra copies outside of stats, so I think 2020 is probably enough. 1010 might be a little small. He's only taking 2 hits. 2020, he can probably take 3 hits with the Iron Will. So, just as a note, he doesn't improve with star level outside of base stats, but yeah, he's certainly pretty good.
He's a solid B tier.
Mm-hmm. All right, Faith, I think we're on you.
Alrighty, Dark Star. This card is a 5-drop red card with 10 power, and when played, you get to assemble an intelligence card of your current opponent. Additionally, she has the static effect of each intel card that you have reduces it by 7 more power. So instead of 5, it'll reduce it by 12. Right. And that 7 goes up to 14 at 2 stars, and 28 at 3 stars or at 4 stars.
Yeah, she does scale.
So this is a card I messed around a lot with Intel decks on the first day. She's a strong card.
Yeah.
But just Intel does not have the cards that you need to get there. Like by the time you get to her, you're probably already losing or have lost.
Yeah, you give up a lot of board to make intelligence work, and then like even at 1 star, her static effect, that makes it that -5 a -12 for each intel card in your hand. That's pretty good.
She's a great card. Yeah.
Like that's a really nice effect. But it's because of all the other stuff you have to jam. You have to jam the tactics and the actions, and developing board just seems so difficult with that intelligence deck.
Standalone, I'd say she's like an A tier card.
Sure.
But everything else to get Intel going is not there.
Yeah. Reasonable. I think she might have some potential in arena. She might be better off in arena than in constructed play. And I think Black Widow is going to be a great choice in arena in general. We haven't even talked about that yet, but like because she has a lot of really strong standalone cards like Black Widow, like Yelena, like even Red Guardian, like Dark Star, like a lot of these units that come in this set are just really powerful single units, even without other synergies. So I think that's nice, particularly Yelena, right? Because you could tutor a tactics from another, so it's whatever other tactics you happen to get, right?
You can play her in any deck. She's great.
Yeah, and same with Black Widow especially, and I think Red Guardian as well, because offering the cloak, you could cloak some key units in your arena deck and protect them for that that first turn, and then potentially get them cloaked again. So, yeah.
All right, we have Widow's Aim, 5-drop tactics. Once per battle, before an opponent taking action, if you have their star level 2 or higher intelligence card, deal 200 damage to them. That's pretty good. 200 damage for 5 costs, pretty good.
And I mean, this is a tactics, so it's permanent, and it's anytime you have that level 2 or higher. But getting that level 2 or higher intelligence card is harder than you think.
Other than that 4-cost activatable card, there's no reliable way of getting a level 2 card.
Yeah, because all the base effects, as we've noted multiple times, are non-repeatable, so they'll try and target different targets. So you have to either, you have to use one of the ways to assemble, like Dark Star or the action. So it's just not a consistent way to make this work.
I see.
Yeah.
200 good damage though.
Sure is. Better than Explosive Trap. Which hasn't really been able to make the cut a lot of the time. So yeah. All right. Is it on me? Yeah, it's on me. Ronan's Wrath. 5-drop tactics card. Once per battle, when a friendly agent's character is attacking an opponent with higher power, they gains 25 power. Gains it. They get the gains. All the gains. They're in the gym. This card's sweet. I know you're a fan of this card, Faith, in the cloak list.
Yeah, I run this in my list over Red Guardian because this helps out, especially in cases where your cloaked units lose their cloaked. They're not going to benefit from the Black Widow passive anymore, but they can still get 25 power when they're attacking an opponent that's stronger than them. It works especially well in mirror matches where maybe for whatever instance, for whatever reason, your Black Widow has died, and their Black Widow, you guys have been kind of like stealing each other's power, but now you have the lower power unit. You don't have your Black Widow. You still have this though, so you're going to get that extra 25 power to kind of take the last edge and win that round.
Right, and note, this isn't on action, it's on attack. So there's the particularly nasty thing is getting this to trigger on Yelena, because she gets 25 power and still has Speed Strike and will probably maintain her cloak because she's probably going to kill whatever she hits.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Even if they're one off, then they get that plus 25.
Yep. This does not stack, just to note.
Oh, okay. It doesn't stack.
You only need one of these. Yep.
Yeah. It's once per character action.
Right.
All right. This card has a lot of good stuff going for it, but it suffers from the same things that Dark Star does. It's in the Intel pool, and Intel is not strong right now. So this is Black Widow, and I believe it's like It's like most feared something or fear unleashed.
Fear itself.
Fear itself. It's a
That's a
6-drop.
Marvel thing. Yeah.
6-drop red card, and it starts with 24 power, and it's got Assault, take action, and it's got an Invocate effect where you get to get 2 random intel cards of your current opponent, and again, try not to repeat each other. So it's not assembled. You don't get to pick. You don't get to automatically get a 2-star intel card. And then after she takes action in her Assault, if you control intel cards of all your opponents, you can defeat 2 of them that have the highest power. So you need to have intel cards on all 6 of your opponents, and then after she attacks, you can take out 2 of them. So you have to have 4 of those tactic generating cards that'll give you 4 of them, and then when you play her, she'll generate the last 2. That's the ideal setup.
Or have the power as well, and then you can use any other way to generate the 6, right?
And you can then you can just go down to 3 on the tactic card if you have that.
Yeah, she's a ton of work for sure. But this is, at the same time, this is a very, very powerful effect.
Not to mention, if your opponent knows that you're playing this card, they can simply swap out a card.
Yeah.
Now you don't have it anymore because you will not have the intel for all their cards.
Right. And they only need to do 1 because you have to have the intel for all of them. Yeah. However, with note, this is on any action that effect can proc. So if it's later on in the fight, right, if the fight is a little bit drawn out, if she survives, if she takes an action and you happen to be holding the intelligence cards of whatever is left, it'll still trigger. It's not just on her assault action, it's on any action for her. Sure. So that is, that is relevant that sometimes this effect can trigger mid-fight, not, it doesn't have to be at the start. Ideally, it's at the start, right? Ideally, you're playing it as a combo deck, and you just wipe out their whole board. But you can still make it work later in the fight as well if you have even just the 2 intelligence cards, and that's all that's left. They just instantly die.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. It is a lot of work. I like this card a lot for Arena as well. I think 24 is a pretty good amount of power. It's not Surger, but it's certainly not bad. And just, doing stuff, having keywords, making bonus stuff happen as a value play is pretty good in Arena. So, yeah.
Yep. She's a good card, but she's intel.
Right. And also she's a 6-drop, which is, in constructed, it's harder to get there. Yeah.
So it was Faith, right?
Yeah, it's you. Wait, that was Faith, right? Yeah, so it's you, John.
Yeah. With me? Okay, oh, nice. All right, so we have Ronan, 6 power, 24 stats. Cloaked, after launching an attack, deal N damage to characters adjacent to target where N equals half the card's power. So, again, he's a 6-drop, so how good is this guy? If you guys played him.
I run him in my Cloak deck because if you pair him with Black Widow, at least like a level 2 Black Widow, you steal the power, and then you're also dealing that adjacent damage. So
and usually he plays really well with his own weapon, which we'll see.
Yep. So
yeah, no,
he's a good card.
He's a good card top end for the Cloak deck. Yeah, like Black Widow is the engine of that deck, but this is definitely a nice finisher for that deck. Especially because you'll see with both the ability to steal using Black Widow and then also you steal with his weapon, which should be the next card. He gets a lot bigger before he even hits. And so that splash damage is going to be pretty beefy.
Is he doing the same thing like Daredevil does? Like he hits both the adjacent units?
Yep.
So he's the second person that could do that now. So,
right.
Daredevil.
Yeah, it's the same effect as Daredevil, yeah. Except it's, is Daredevil half or is Daredevil full damage?
Daredevil's full.
Yeah, so this is half damage. But this also gets to steal. Most likely is going to steal a bunch of power before it swings. So it's going to hit real hard. Yeah, also, you weren't going to give that name a shot there, John?
Oh, definitely not.
Alexei Shostakov? Okay.
Yeah. Too many letters.
All right. Hey, here it is. Ronan's Chain Scythe. This is the weapon I was just talking about. This weapon's awesome. 6-drop attack character weapon. Gives plus 10 power, and also before launching attack under cloaked state, steals 15 power from the target. So, this is of course excellent on Ronan. He's going to steal 15 power from whatever he's swinging at, and then potentially also get a Black Widow trigger to steal, up to 40 armor and 40 power off of the highest thing, which could be his target, not necessarily. But yeah, so that's a 25 power swing, even just at the at the base level for him, and he starts at 24, so that's base 49 for him, plus whatever he steals off of with a Black Widow. It's a nice combo, yeah. And also this is great on Yelena. This is really, really dumb good on Yelena with Speed Strike.
Dude, it works.
Yep.
All right, and now we get to Dispel, which is a 6-drop support equipment card. What it does is it gives your character puncture, and then the special action that they will take that replaces their regular action will be to deal 10 damage to all opponents that you have intel on, and they'll trigger up to 3 times. It's an intel card. That's really all there is to it. If you're running an intel deck, this is probably going to be one of your 6 drops.
Sure. Maybe strap this on Odin with an intelligence support setup. Maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking about Odin because of the Throg shield synergy. So that's what that I've been rolling that around in my head this whole time we've been talking.
Gonna go jump on that after this, huh?
Yeah, that's my next bad idea. I'm gonna try and force.
That could work though. That could work.
I alluded to it earlier. My first bad idea that I tried to force that Faith shot down and it totally didn't work was using Yelena, using Black Widow and Yelena in Scarlet Witch. But you lose so much by running Black Widow in there that there's just better options. So don't try it, or do, and enjoy your failures.
Yeah. I really wish Intel was better.
Me too. Last one.
Is it me?
Faith?
Yeah.
Wait, Faith, right? Didn't I just do the Scythe?
I just did Dispel.
Oh, you did Dispel, right?
All right. So 6-drop is tactics, motorcycle escape. When there's only one character left on your battlefield, summon a random 5-cost or 6-cost agent character and give them +12 power, annihilate, and let them take action immediately. Card seems pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. It's good value.
As long as it doesn't give you like Red Guardian or Dark Star.
Right? I mean, even Red Guardian's probably fine with it, right? Because, I mean, obviously there are better options. Either Black Widow is better. However, giving him +12 power makes him, 22 plus 10 armor plus Iron Will?
But you're also having him take action immediately, which means you're not getting that retaliate bonus.
Right, yeah. Well, but he won't die on a swing because he has Iron Will. So you'll get the retaliate bonus once, at least.
So I'm assuming the best card is probably getting Black Widow for this.
Or Ronan.
Or Ronan, yeah.
It depends on your deck. Ronan is the most value probably, but Black Widow, if you're actually playing the deck out, the cloak deck, then Black Widow is, getting an extra Black Widow is pretty sweet.
This is also a good safety net if you're playing Thanos and you snap and the snap goes wrong.
Yeah.
It could probably dig you out of that bad snap.
Sure. I've also been thinking about okay, I could run this with Whiplash and probably do some stuff with that. Yeah, right. At endgame, there's potentially some options there. So yeah, I think this is just a really good value card. I think in the cloak deck, you probably want Ronan and the Chain Scythe, and then in intelligence, you probably want Black Widow. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know which other one would you want. The Dispel seems really bad.
Yeah. Also, because Dispel is a support card, you can put it on like an Ultron.
Yeah, or your Black Widow, but your 5-drop Black Widow. But
at that point, I'll probably be running 2-drop support.
Yeah, there's just not a good target for it, and that's 6 is a lot to get. Not a lot of value for this, I think.
Yeah,
but I guess if you're in the Intel deck, you're at the end of the game at 6, you're probably generating 3 to 4 per turn, regardless, right? With Red Room. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it is good enough because it's puncture. It's 10. Yeah, you put on your Ultron. He gets to go a few times, maybe, or ideally, somebody cloaked with next to Ultron, but that's more of the cloak deck. So yeah, it's just Intel just feels so much work for not a lot of gain. Whereas cloak, you stick that Black Widow on the field, and your board is immediately terrifying, and you can just destroy people. It's absurd. She is such a powerhouse engine of a card. Yeah. All right. That's the set. That's her abilities. That's the cards.
Oh, can we go over the extra cards?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have the top 100 rank card also.
Yeah, we'll get that. Yeah, we'll look at that. So here's Red Wing. 2-drop. When a friendly attack character enters the battlefield, gives them +1 or +2 or +4 power. This is the shield agent replacement. And
It's the worst.
Yeah, he's literally half power. So, sometimes, you're forced to take it on turn 1 or 2, and you can get a little benefit from it here or there. Honestly, I've taken this because, I had Yelena coming, and getting a little buff on her is pretty relevant with the speed strike, so that's not the worst, but it's a worse shield agent. Yep. What's our other one? Hydra. Another new bad Hydra card? I'm shocked.
Wow.
Hydra Infiltration.
Give a Hydra character last word. Change 2 opponents with the lowest power into Hydra Elite soldiers and take action immediately until the end of the next turn. Next battle.
That's a really bad effect, and it costs 5, and you can only use it once, and it's a legendary.
I mean,
why
for
does
4.
it have to be the lowest?
For 4. That's terrible. Doesn't check any boxes.
If you have Zola and you're forcing the soldiers to take action immediately, that means you'll immediately get 2 Zola procs. But
it's a 5-drop. That's so expensive. That effect should cost 3.
Yes.
The art is nice, though.
The art is sweet. So I guess it gets that. It can look great sitting in your collection. Please don't craft this card. No, please nobody craft this card. This card's terrible. Yeah, that's so overcosted for what you get. And also, if this was a tactics card, maybe, right? Because then you just get it every turn.
That would be nuts.
Also, if this was a tactics card, okay, I guess it wouldn't stack. I was gonna say if you stack 3 of them and it hit their whole board, that would be pretty silly.
Card, yeah.
Yeah, but because even if it stacked, it would just hit the soldiers, then hit the soldiers again, then hit the soldiers again. So it doesn't really matter if it stacks or not.
Yeah.
Or hit the soldiers or other 2-drops, but either
when will it be Hydra's time? People said.
Yeah. It's not been a great time for Hydra players. I'm sorry. However, this is a sweet card for everybody. You're talking about art, John. I love the art on this card. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really shiny. If you click on it, you can see the rotated picture. But it looks really nice.
Reduce the damage your characters take by 2, but not less than 1. So yeah, that's really good.
So it's nice.
And this stacks,
right? You're not gonna
stacks, right? For tactics card?
Yep. Does it stack? I don't know. It seems like it would.
Hopefully. Otherwise, there's no point to running more than 1.
Right. But I mean, honestly, that's fine though because it's hard to obtain. So you'll be able to get 1 this season, and then 1 at the end of next season if you finish top 100 either of those seasons, or both. You can get 2, and then you'll be able to buy up to 2 in value packs next season. So I imagine those will be pricier packs. There was the Thanos whale pack.
I wonder if this is a static effect or if it's more of one of my characters just took 10 damage reduced to 8. Now it popped and it's done.
I think it's a static effect based on the way it's written. Usually it'll say once per battle or, once per damage taken or whatever. It's usually written that way. So I imagine this is just a flat static effect. I think this is really good. I also think this is super runnable because it's a 4-drop for neutral, which is not a super competitive slot except for Scarlet Witch usually. Or I guess Hydra, but, LOL Hydra. RIP.
Come on.
For most decks, that's a pretty flexible spot. That's one of the most flexible slots we probably have in your whole deck list. Is 4-drop neutral. So it's cheap enough to play consistently. You can tutor it with Yelena, which I'm just already high on doing that once I get my hands on one. Yeah, seems really good. So there we go. We did it. We got through everything. We got through all the Black Widow stuff. We can look at a quick deck list. I know, Faith, you probably got to run soon. So we'll get this wrapped up.
You want to check the battle pass real quick?
Yeah, let's do that.
Just a brief run.
Yeah, we'll talk about decks next week. Let's do that. We can try some we'll talk about some intelligence and cloaks builds next week. Quick run through for the battle
And
pass.
hopefully I'll be playing by then.
Yeah, please. I hope so. Battle pass. We got the one button action here. There's a skin. You get the Fear Itself skin off the 6-drop rather than the base one that's on the 5-drop. You get a 6-drop. You get a Red Guardian Shield. You get an Ivan, and you get a Yelena. That's for those that were like, wow, Chopstick, you sure were high on Yelena for only having 2 copies. I'm waiting till I get to level 10 to get the other one, okay? And then I'll craft the 3rd one. Chill out. We got those emotes there for those emote lovers out there, but there's none of those on the show, so Wait a minute. Yes, there is. There's one of them. And the glorious card back. Big fan.
The card back is really nice.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite card backs they've ever done. It looks fantastic. I love the animated water at the bottom. Yeah.
Very clean.
Yeah, great job on that. The art in the set is fantastic overall. All the Black Widow art is top tier. It's probably my favorite art set so far.
Love the set.
I have to agree.
Battle pass. It's all good.
Yeah.
I even some of the emotes.
Buff intelligence and everybody will be happy.
Yep. Intelligence just needs a little tweaking. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anybody got anything else? No? Yes?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
Cool. So yeah, we'll come back next week. We'll talk about, now that the set will have been out for a week and change at that point. We'll have some time to have taken a dive at it. I'm going to be playing her in Arena a bunch. I already have an Arena set up where she's a draftable option, so I'm going to draft that and stream it. And we'll play some float decks, we'll play some intel decks. We'll be back to talk about that next week. Until then, guys, thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe here. I think we're on John's YouTube page for the YouTube. And then if you're listening via audio, please drop us a subscription and a review, whether you're on iTunes or Spotify or Anchor or any of the other hundreds of services we're on. Not really that many, but it's a lot. So, anyways, bye, guys.
Take care, guys. Have fun out there.
Bye.
Later.